They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hey guys, what is up? It is Seatin here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking you over the Crucia fight, which is the final boss in Frozen Tempest. Now, when you initially pull Crucia, two mechs will spawn, which are fairly large. Now, at 66% and 33%, these mechs will do a shield, which can be taken down via two ways. Now, the first way to take it down is by DPSing any one of these three little sort of construct knight-looking ads, and when they get to 66 or 33%, they're going to turn friendly for about 15 to 20 seconds, and they're going to charge towards the nearest mech and then start auto-attacking stacks of the shield down. So this is one way to get rid of the shield. Now the second way is when you've killed the first mech, what somebody can do is they'll need to jump in that mech, and then they will get a reactive ability which allows them to purge the stacks off the second mech. So it's fairly straightforward. In terms of difficulty of this phase, it's really easy. Literally, you just nuke anything that can take damage, and then somehow it'll work out. You know, not many people have trouble at all on this phase, so it is extremely straightforward. The only other thing to be aware of is that the little mechs, when they're hostile, will have an aura around them, which reduces toughness of all nearby people to 0. So the tanks basically need to move out of that. And the second thing is the DPS will occasionally, one random player in the raid will occasionally get turned into sort of like a little air elemental type creature, and this deals a mild amount of damage to anyone surrounding it. So if you get this debuff, you essentially just need to move out of the raid, and that's a very easy way to counter it. Now, the final thing is both the big mechs will have an interrupt ability, so when they cast something that can be interrupted, and I believe it's called Shock Pulse, all you need to simply do is interrupt it, and it's as straightforward as that, really. So yeah, as you can see, we're just waiting on the guy to purge, and you'll see the mech that we've got control of currently, just a few moments ago, jumped up to Crucia. That was to interrupt an ability called Infinite Storm. So when you're in the mech, you're in charge of interrupting Infinite Storm, which is Crucia's sort of one-shot the raid ability. So I believe it is abilities number 4 and 5 when you're in the mech, because your bar will be replaced, and then you basically just need to jump up to her and interrupt it, and be very aware of this. Now, moving on to the second phase, you're going to get a slightly more beefed up mech to deal with, called the Stormcore Annihilator. Now, this is going to work in the same way that the mechs in phase 1 did, so at 66% and around 33%, he's going to do a shield that's going to need purging. However, as you can see in the video now, this can be delayed if he's casting his target acquired spell. When he casts his target acquired spell, the person basically needs to run out of the raid, as he's going to be constantly taking damage to himself and everybody around him. Now, occasionally he's going to spawn a bomb called Exploding Tempest. What you need to do with this bomb is whoever has aggro on it needs to take it to the storm cannon, and all DPS need to kill the cannon. So you basically have about 20 seconds to kill the cannon before the bomb explodes. When killing the cannon, it basically puts up a zone which will deactivate any bombs. So basically, when the bomb spawns, run over to the cannon, nuke the cannon. Whoever has aggro on the bomb, make sure that you stand within melee range of the cannon, and then the bomb will despawn and you'll be fine. Now, moving on to the more slightly challenging part of the fight is Crucia herself. Now, as you can see, the bridge sort of opened up after we defeated that mech, and we were able to cross over to the second platform. Now, in this phase, the main thing to be concerned of if you're a DPS is the orbital strike, and this is really where the big healing check for the fight comes in. Now, this is abilities about to be activated now, orbital strike. So all of the raid for about 10 to 12 seconds are going to take about 5k damage per second, and also, as you can see, there are two orbital Tempest orbiting the platform at the moment. Whenever one of those comes past, it's going to deal additional damage to the raid. Now, the person in the mech actually has an ability, which I believe is on number 6, which can negate this, and they'll need to do that to sort of save anybody dying during this phase. So ideally, to get through to this phase, with ease, you'll need 2 Chloromancers AoE healing and 1 Warden AoE healing at least. Some people prefer 1 Chloro and 2 Wardens, but just bear in mind in regards to your healing setup, you're going to need a lot of AoE healing to be able to withstand these orbital strikes. Now, the second thing is the tanks are going to get absolutely roundhoused in that phase, and they're also going to do a tank swap buff, which is fairly easy to see on. The tanks is currently on Yasuo at the moment. Basically, the tanks just need to swap when they get that debuff, or they're going to get one-shotted. So when she reaches 60%, she's going to fly up into the air once again and spawn 12 of these Stormblade constructs. You need to AoE them all down within about 20 seconds. It is extremely easy to do, or they will explode and sort of wipe the raid. So that's a tiny DPS check there, but if you've made it this far, you should have no problem doing that one. And then what will happen is a Tempest Elemental will spawn. You want to try and interrupt as many of his abilities as you can, such as Chain Lightning and also the stun ability that he does. And then you all want to stack up in this safe green zone, as she's going to sort of do a massive AoE, and if you're not inside this green zone when she does it, then you're going to get one shot. So it's really as simple as that. I don't think for some reason on this try she actually did it, or if she did it, the visuals weren't there, it bugged out. So as you can see, once she's done that, you get somebody gets a reactive ability to jump in the air and knock her down, as I just did there. So usually, well, everybody gets that reactive, so usually you put one person in charge of it, or as many people as you want can really go up, but you only need one person to do it. So that's a very easy thing to do. And then she comes down for her final phase. Now, there's a few mechanics in the final phase which really do make the fight difficult and people need to be aware of. Now, the first is unstable coolant, which is going to be a debuff that needs to be dispelled. It's going to take for about 3 seconds, and then if it's not dispelled, it's going to stun that person and then deal a shit ton of damage to them. So the healers really need to be on top of their game in regards to dispelling that. In this phase, the tank swap debuff changes as well. So basically, instead of getting an increased damage debuff, they're going to get a debuff which after 5 seconds mind controls them. And then the only way to break this mind control is that all DPS switch to them and focus them down. Now, as you can see at the moment, I've got an ability on me called Lightning Rod, which means I'm going to drop 3 yellow circles. And inside these yellow circles, you have sort of laser beams orbiting counterclockwise, and if you touch one of these laser beams, you instantly get one-shotted. So you basically have to, if you get that ability, you need to navigate through the bubbles and try and drop them as close together while just avoiding the spinning laser beams that are going about. And then the final mechanic of this phase, well, final 2 mechanics, is you have Tempest Fury, which Crucia will emote. Crucia surges with blinding energy, and then you all have to look away. And then the final thing is when she hits 30%, you're going to get all these lasers absolutely everywhere. You can see them, the red ones sort of beaming down from the sky. And if you get touched by one of these, you're going to take about 8 to 9k damage. So that's pretty much it for the fight, guys. It's very hectic during the last phase, so it's very difficult for me to explain the entirety of it, but I hope you got a fairly good idea and good overview of the fight and the general mechanics that you need to be aware of and how to react to them. And even if I didn't explain absolutely everything, I'm sure you saw a few things and picked up on a hint or two. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video and found it somewhat informative. Feel free to like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and once again, thank you for watching.